Well, the coronation of King Charles III is taking place on Saturday. Rehearsals took place at Buckingham Palace and at Westminster Abbey, where for almost 1,000 years, the kings and queens of England and Britain have been crowned. And joining us to discuss is our royal contributor, welcoming back Shannon Felton Spence. So good to see you again.
So exciting to be here.
The last time you were with us was when Prince William and Princess Catherine were in Boston on their whirlwind trip. This is at a different scale entirely, isn't it?
Absolutely. Basically central London is shut down at the moment as they are preparing. We just saw a video of them doing the rehearsal this morning, but tourists are flooding the city. You know, so many heads of state are coming for this historic occasion, and so this is really just off the charts.
And of course, this is where the British really excel, right? They rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, and all the pageantry is so impressive. Put this in perspective for us in terms of history. Here we are in 2023. It is the coronation of a monarch who is head of state and head of the Church of England. So this has deep meaning for people in Great Britain.
Absolutely. I think that gets lost a little bit in the excitement of these occasions, but we are looking at a new head of state for the UK and 14 other nations across the globe. This ceremony is a sacred ceremony between sovereign and God. It's also for those 15 nations of which he is the head of state, and it's for the world. I mean, this is a real tool of British soft power. We're all watching them. We all know what to expect. We're all excited for them. No other country comes close to that sort of spectacle.
Yes, it's always important to point out for Americans, I think, you know, we have such a special relationship with the United Kingdom and have since especially World War II. Most Americans prefer elected politicians to kings and queens, but overwhelmingly in the United Kingdom, the monarchy, people still want it.
That's right. And if we just look at the last year, the United Kingdom has had 3 prime ministers in less than a year. That sort of shows the value of an unelected head of state from their perspective. We're Americans,
well,
so
it gives them, as Camilla said this week, it gives them, excuse me, it was not Camilla, it was Princess Anne, said this week, it gives them the sense of continuity.
Absolutely. Right? Governments are responsive to politics and public opinion. The unelected head of state as the sovereign is stable. He provides continuity. He's just
above
there.
Politics.
He's above politics. He is there in the good and the bad, and you can look to him as they did with the Queen for 70 years and sort of feel like, okay, it's all going to be all right.
Right. Let's talk about that. The last coronation was in 1952, the early television era. How different will this coronation be and be received?
So the Queen's coronation was the first one that was on TV, so it really brought it to people's homes. There are definitely still people that remember watching it on TV or in the street partying for the occasion. So that is exciting, but this one is going to be quite a bit different. We're 70 years on now. The Abbey actually only holds about 2,000 people. They squeezed 8,000 in for the Queen. They're gonna comply by the they're gonna comply by the fire codes this year. So there's only going to be about between 1,000 and 2,000 people there. But it's going to be slightly scaled back. Listen, it's a difficult time for the UK politically. They are going through a cost of living crisis, and the war in Ukraine has really squeezed the economy there. So has Brexit. And so, you know, the king is very cognizant of that, and he has scaled down the celebrations to be sort of what they need to be, give people a good news story, cheer people up, but not be overly extravagant.
He doesn't want it to be too ostentatious. I know King Charles, going back to the 70s, has been a real environmentalist and talking about recycling. So he is recycling some of the robes and gloves and accoutrements of kings past, right?
That's absolutely right. I think that when people are concerned about if monarchy can change to be a modern institution, I think that this is the right king at the right time. This is a guy that's been forward thinking on issues that were not mainstream since the 70s. Organic farming, climate change. He cares so deeply about, you know, interfaiths and recognizing all faiths within the UK and diversity. And he is a modern king. And I think that we're really going to see some change under his reign.
It is interesting. Sometimes we forget Prince Albert of Monaco studied here at at Amherst College in Massachusetts. And his role in Monaco, Monte Carlo has been to kind of attract business. He's sort of a businessman, member of royalty, principality. Do you think King Charles will kind of see that? It's clearly a much bigger, more significant role in the UK, but as you say, kind of scaling back to a more contemporary view of what a monarchy should mean? I
definitely think that King Charles is going to modernize the monarchy in a way that makes sure the public can be certain of the return on value, return on money and investment that the monarchy costs, which is a huge amount. But they do attract a large amount in tourism dollars and trade and investment. But he's going to slim down the family, you know, only put the ones to work that are really going to provide that value for dollar.
Right. And really where the Queen was the bridge from Victorian England to the modern era, here he is setting the future King William up, right, for the future.
That's right.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room, or the elephant in the procession, as it were. Prince Harry is coming by himself. What are the thoughts on that?
Yeah, Prince Harry's coming by himself. I think it's great that he is coming. It would have been so sad to watch this coronation of the king with his two sons not there. And so I think that the Sussexes came to the best decision for all parties. The Duchess is going to stay home in California. It's Prince Archie's birthday, so she will celebrate there at home. And Prince Harry is coming to support his father. Listen, things are not chilled out between the family. They are estranged in a real deal way. But I think it's these sort of occasions, you know, even in our own families, these big events where you kind of put that aside. They did it at the funeral. They're going to do it now, and he's going to be there to support. And of course, you know, he's going to fly right back home to be with his little boy on his birthday.
Interesting. And as we were saying before, this does set the new Prince of Wales, Prince William, and Princess Catherine up to take over the monarchy at some point in the future. How do you see them handling this interregnum period?
Listen, I am just so excited about the Prince and Princess of Wales. As you remember, their first trip abroad was to Boston. So we have a very special relationship with the Wales family. Prince William will take on a very sacred role in the coronation, where he will kneel in front of the king and basically pledge his allegiance, pledge his loyalty as the heir to the throne. I mean, he is stepping up to the #2 spot. It's a big deal. Also, Prince George is going to have an official role, which is the youngest member of the royal family in history to participate in the coronation.
It is fascinating. Since the death of the Queen, now we know for the next 100 years or so, there will be 3 kings. There will be a time when no one remembers that there was a Queen of England.
That's right. And England has a very long history of female monarchs and strong queens, but we won't see another one in our lifetime, because #1, #2, and #3, they're all the guys.
Yeah. And who would have thought, when you think back to the 80s, that British people would embrace Queen Camilla? There was a point where her name was really mud, and of course Princess Diana was beloved. I can't watch these images without thinking just what a different experience this entire coronation would be if it were Prince Charles and Princess Diana becoming the king and queen.
Yeah, it's tough to talk about because there's definitely 30 years of what ifs. King Charles and Queen Camilla have really sort of proven their love to the public. Queen Camilla has been accepted by the public. It is still a weird thing to say, Queen Camilla, but you know, they've been married for 15 years. She has done so much public service and really stepped into that duty nicely.
Yeah.
And I think Princess Diana will be missed, but also, you know, times have moved on.
Yeah, and I think it really is kind of touching that both his sons and the citizens seem happy for him. You know, happy for them that they have come to this place where they've moved on, and they're going to accept that she will be there at his side.
They have a great love, you know, they have a great love story. It did not start great, you know, and it was really, really messy, but I think we're both excited to see them crowned this coming Saturday.
All right, Shannon Felton Spence, our royal contributor, thanks as always for coming in to give your perspective. The coronation ceremony begins at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the U.S. You can watch it on wbz-tv. We'll be right back.